Anthony Joshua reacts to Tyson Fury knocking out Tom Schwarz of Germany. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Anthony Joshua went live on his Instagram. I think he's just taking some vacation time. He was, in a wife beater and trunks, and some other dude was shirtless in trunks, and they were just playing ping pong in like a garage, presumably rented out a house or something. And somebody, it's weird because you look at the video and somebody was saying something to the fact that, damn, Joshua looks like he's happy he lost. And then whoever's filming, like one of Joshua's mates or whatever, one of his friends, was like, he's not happy he lost, but life goes on, you can't dwell on it. And then Joshua jumps in. It was just his friend talking to, people who were leaving comments on the live stream. And then Joshua he said, this is the thing, right? The thing is, you can, and people are going to interpret it how they want to interpret it. But as long as you know internally how you feel, then, who gives a fuck? So, I don't know. It's weird because it looked like he got kind of defensive about it. But he's saying basically people are going to take it how they want. And as long as you know how you feel internally, then it is what it is. But, someone must have said something about, hey, Tyson Fury just fought this weekend in the comments. And then Joshua says, I could talk shit, but Tyson, he done what he had to do. Well played to him. I want to go back to fighting some easy opponents, I think. Why am I out here doing all this shit myself? Do you know what I mean? So obviously nobody in the heavyweight division really ranked Tom Schwarz as, this world beater or like this brute force machine. And he's just saying he went out there and he got the victory. So hats off to him, but he's not going to blow it out of proportion. And I agree. Old media wants to try so hard to make Tyson Fury's Tom Schwarz win look like this incredible feat. And it's funny because when Deontay Wilder knocks out his mandatory, someone he had to fight, because Tyson Fury bailed from the rematch, which they don't talk about, and went to ESPN and said, I need tune-ups. They want to put Tyson Fury at the number one. If you want to do it off skills, whatever. But, how come there's the number one guy, in your opinion, you think he's number one, but you're okay with Tyson Fury being in negotiations for the Wilder rematch, an immediate rematch, and him buying time and taking tune-ups to really get ready? Shouldn't you have considered the tune-ups before you fought before you fought Wilder the first time? Doesn't even make sense. But once again, old media doesn't want to bring up these things. So anyway, Tom Schwarz, it is what it is. It was a guy who was ranked 56 in the world or some shit at heavyweight, hadn't fought outside of Germany, name one name that Tom Schwarz had fought of note and won. And Joshua was just basically saying, and I agree with him, he said, man, I should just go back to fight some Kevin Johnsons and Tom Schwarz or worse. Like, why should I do all the heavy lifting? And he's right, because win, lose, or draw, Anthony Joshua was in there with a credible guy, amateur pedigree, fast hands, has some heavy hands, in Andy Ruiz Jr. It's funny because now that Joshua he lost and people are trying to shit on him, he's still a good fighter. He's still a gold medalist. He just, styles make fights, and it wasn't his night. But Tyson Fury literally fought the weakest competition. Andy Ruiz fought AJ. AJ fought Andy Ruiz. Deontay Wilder fought his mandatory, an Olympian, Dominic Breazeale. Dominic Breazeale fought a bronze medalist and an Olympian in Wilder. You have Daniel Dubois fighting Gorman. That's a good fight. Daniel Dubois is young in his career, and I think Gorman is Tyson Fury's cousin or something, right? You have Joseph Parker. He was down to fight Eric Molina. Now he's fighting Alex Lapai. Something happened with Molina. You have Dillian White in a tough fight with Oscar Rivas. And these are guys that are coming off of losses or had losses. Like Bryant Jennings is fighting an undefeated puncher, a heavy-handed 6'6" guy in Joe Joyce. Bryant Jennings just lost to Rivas by stoppage in the final round. So how come Tyson Fury didn't fight Bryant Jennings like Joe Joyce is doing? Joe Joyce barely has double-digit fights, if he even does. You know what I'm saying? How come Bryant Jennings is coming off a loss and still fighting a tougher guy in Joe Joyce, and a guy with experience who fought Usyk and all these other guys and the amateurs, Tony Yoka or whoever, right? And Joe Joyce is fighting Jennings, a high-ranking contender. Bryant Jennings was like the guy. There was a race between him and Deontay Wilder. A lot of people don't remember that. Just like I've been in boxing for a while, because I remember there's these little buildups like Canelo versus Julio Cesar Chavez. They started to emerge at the same time, and there was a big battle and talk from boxing fans, Mexican American fans, on who would have the better career, Canelo or Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.'s son, or senior's son, Jr., right? Also, Gary Russell Jr. and Adrian Broner. There were talks about them kind of fighting, in Gamboa. Those were it was like that kind of trifecta of fighters. And then for Bryant Jennings and Wilder, they were kind of coming up at the same time. So it was like, who's going to be the next great from America? And so a lot of people had Bryant Jennings. But needless to say, those are all better fights and all tougher fights than Tom Schwarz. Bryant Jennings taking on Joe Joyce, who, like I said, 6'6", undefeated, very heavy hands, just stops Stavern. And then you got Tom Schwarz, who's getting all the Tyson Fury getting all the praise for beating Tom Schwarz. It's very laughable, very predictable. I don't care about the singing and Apollo Creed. That's just extracurricular. We're talking boxing. We're not. Who's ranking Tyson Fury based on an Apollo Creed entrance? Who's ranking Tyson Fury based on his singing ability or karaoke to his wife? None of that has shit to do with boxing. I agree with Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua, for that matter, is fighting Andy Ruiz. That's a tough fight. It's kind of a do or die fight for him. He's going to want to look better and, get his belts back. So how is it that everyone else is taking on these tougher fights and Tyson Fury ain't carrying his weight? They're supposed to be building Wilder Fury 2, especially with Joshua losing. And then Tyson Fury's up here fighting the weakest of opposition. And then he's screaming this lineal championship. That's the problem with the lineal champion. There's no actual mandates and actual rules. Deontay Wilder has to fight ranked guys. Deontay Wilder has to fight mandatories that are high ranking, that are ordered by the WBC. Joshua had to fight mandatories like Kubrat Pulev, who pulled out. Then they switched it to Carlos Takam. He has rules to abide by. Tyson Fury is lawless. He could just fight whoever he wants and scream, I'm the lineal champ. I beat Klitschko. Boxing is a what have you done for me now sport. Fury's good. Fury has skill, but I would like to see him step it up in the rematch. For Joshua, he should just rest up and try to come back better. Andy Ruiz, rest up until it's time to go again. Wilder's fighting Luis Ortiz. It's laughable. Why does Wilder have to fight Luis Ortiz? No one from the UK fought Luis Ortiz. Aside from Dave Allen, I'm talking about the big names, Joe Joyce, the AJs, the Dillian Whites, Tyson Fury. They all had opportunities. People keep talking about Luis Ortiz is 100,000 years old, but no one's fighting him except for Wilder with something to lose. Wilder is taking down another dangerous. People are saying he's old and Luis Ortiz is going to get stopped sooner, but you never know. Styles make fights. Technically, Luis Ortiz is better than Wilder, so it's still a dangerous fight, and he's a southpaw. And a lot of times in boxing, when you give the better boxer a second crack at it, they can make adjustments. But Wilder has that equalizer power. Bottom line, I don't care what anyone says. Tyson Fury should be stepping it up, just like Gennady Golovkin. He's out here fighting Steve Rolls, and people are praising the knockout. Tyson Fury, he looked good, but everything is relative. You have to put it into context. I agree with Joshua. He should rest up, like I said, and come back stronger. Peace. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.